and he reverses course. Thank you.
Right, absolutely. With that, sir, I'd like to thank you for joining us on NewsX World, sharing your perspectives. We leave it there and shift our focus to some more news coming in. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments on November 5th regarding the legality of Donald Trump's global tariffs. The case challenges the president's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose tariffs, despite a federal appeals court ruling that Trump's actions overstep his authority. The tariffs, which have been a cornerstone of Trump's economic agenda, are currently set at an average rate of 16.3%. If the court rules against Trump, it could significantly reduce this rate and force the U.S. to repay billions collected from the tariffs. Joining us at this point in time is Mr. Jayjeet Bhattacharya, economist and finance expert, joining us from New Delhi, India. So thank you for your time on NewsX World, and I'd like to understand from you, how crucial does this hearing by the Supreme Court then become, considering the fact, and if we look at it from the India's perspective, a 50% tariffs were imposed by Donald Trump. How crucial does this hearing then become?
As you rightly said, the basis for putting in the tariffs was on the 1977 IEEPA Act, which stands for International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which basically said that if there is any unusual and extraordinary circumstances, then the president can go ahead and put whatever tariffs they want to. And the reason that this US administration has invoked is that there has been a lot of fentanyl coming into US, and that is an emergency situation, and therefore the government and the president is authorized to invoke its executive powers to put tariffs at whatever rate it wants against other countries. Now, clearly, there hasn't been any proof of any significant amount of, let's say, fentanyl coming from India or from Canada or from any other place. And therefore, it seems that fentanyl was used more as a fig leaf to invoke the IEA powers, and which is what the Supreme Court of US is also challenging. Now, if the Supreme Court goes ahead and strikes down the powers that has been invoked, then there are a couple of implications. One is obviously the economic implication, which means that the tariffs have to go immediately, and therefore trade can go back to what it used to be, and there will be refunds being given to those companies which have already paid the excess tariffs since they were invoked. The second implication is also political and more of domestic political, because it will damage the image of Trump administration, while also invoking the rage of what's typically called the MAGA base of the US, and that's something which will lead to more polarization within the US. But that's more from the political aspects. From an economic aspect, I'm sure there will be some counter steps being taken by the US administration
Right.
if the Supreme Court strikes down this particular set of tariffs by the administration.
Right, absolutely. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining us on NewsX